Now, continuing the series where I look at every single FNCS Divisional Cup winner in EU, and this week we finally have a new winner. It's no longer Teeny and Shark or Sky and Scroll. We've got Panzer and Yabko, and they're actually one of the most aggressive winners we've had basically so far this season at all, dropping the highest amount of elims. So let's jump into it. Interestingly enough, they actually fragged out way more than any other winner so far. 34 elims. If you actually look at their match history as well, right? Like a 10 elim game, a 13, and a 9. So some really fraggy games, and they won this with like a bunch of stinky games in there too. A 25th with 1 elim, a 43rd, which we'll talk about later, a 15th with only 1 elim too. So like, it seems like in the end game, they're fragging out incredibly. And it's not necessarily the team you would think, right? So they had 34 elims, and I think Teeny and Shark last week had 27. And then the week before that, Sky and Scroll had 32. So they've actually like got the highest amount of elims so far across any winning team so far. So let's jump into some of these matches. I want to see this big one here, for example, to see basically how they're fragging out in this strange balloon-based meta. Straight off the rip, they are a Painted Palms team. Now, with every single one of these winners, I've been looking at the zones because this meta is always very, very dependent on zones. So this first match, as you can see, they're up here top right. This is not the match we're watching. This is just game number 1. Zone pooled kind of to the center of the map. Game 2 here, where they came third, did get a pretty favorable zone. You can see they're positioned here. This is, 4th zone, so they didn't have to move too much. Game 3, which they won, zone is all the way down in the center here. And this is the game they got 13 elims too. Game 4, which they also won, was very far south as well. So definitely not favorable for them at all. 5 was far to the west, like as max as it can be. Admittedly, they did do pretty bad this game. I mean, I could already see they're super deep in the storm. I'm not entirely sure what their strat is yet, but obviously not a super favorable game for them. Did this die in storm maybe? No, they just have like a big storm strat. Who would have thought? And then the final game, they did get a good zone. However, they died off spawn. This game didn't really matter. So the games they did well, only one of them was actually like a favorable zone pool for them. So I can't sit and say blessed by zones like, a lot of the teams have been. Well, basically that's been a lot of the chat this season generally. If you watch any of my other videos, they haven't been blessed. On a side note, this is very funny. Like, look at the amount. This is second zone, edge map, edge map, edge map, edge map, edge map. Everyone's just playing around the full edge in Storm this season. I'm very familiar with this drop spot, and the most important part is these banana heads here. Now, at the start of the season, these were incredibly strong. Only these hanging ones here were like insane metal. They're like 150, 200 metal each. I can't quite remember. And these big ones here were only made of wood. They then nerfed them, and then they've made them metal again, and now they're all insanely good metal. So in this drop spot, I actually don't know off the top of my head how many, like how much metal here is in total, but there's this one here. There's a bunch in there. There's obviously all these metal fences, and then there's all of these heads in here too. So this drop spot has literally unbelievably good metal. The main issue with this material wise is the fact that brick kind of sucks. Like, there's only one good brick around this area in here. However, for most teams, if you rotate past kind of up north, which we will for most zones, in this kind of area, there's a bunch of brick here, and brick in this way. So guess that they're probably not going to get too much brick in the drop spot unless they pull zones and then harvest it on the rotate. But obviously, they can just get instantly capped metal instead. As you can see, 37, 55, 73, over 100, 118 from that one single head there. So yeah, they both get cap metal straight away. So they don't have to spend a lot of time like other teams do, just like harvesting really, really slow metal. There's also an insane amount of barrels. I'm not really sure why Yapko is using a full fizz when there's enough barrels for most of them, but I guess it's just maybe for time and efficiency. Oh, it's because they have the bots here. Okay, also they've got the, the alien head bot. So I just want to see what this drops in this particular match, because this one doesn't give you anything useful in terms of the weapons as far as I was aware. I think it always gives you, I still can't remember to this day, but I think it always gives you a chug jug as far as I'm aware. Could be wrong, but there's no mythic weapon out of this one because this is the one that has the ray gun, the electric gun, whatever it's called. I can't remember, so they end up not dropping it, but the free chug jug's very, very useful. I'm not entirely sure how Yapko has managed to only get 48 SMG ammo. Maybe obviously he was killing the boss there too, but I swear when I leave this drop spot, half the time I have tons of like capped ammo, half the time I have absolutely zero. Again, more metal up here to the north. Now what's crazy to me is that like most of the teams who land Painted Palms also get this bit of loot here, because this is actually like pretty decent. And as you notice, obviously there's tons more metal here as well. So in this area alone, there's 850 metal, 280 brick, stone, haha, I mean that's correct, and then 750 wood. Honestly, you're probably not gonna harvest the wood and the brick too much, but you're just gonna go for the metal. Whereas like this entire drop spot, obviously a lot of this will be slow harvesting material, 6,300 metal. That is just absolutely nuts. Like the metal obviously is very useful, but most importantly, there's still just a lot more chests. Like if you only end up looting the actual POI here, you miss out on what, how many chests? 5.73 chests, oh, on average. average. Yeah, okay, that's on average based on the spawn rate. So, you know, there's a 100% spawn rate chest here. It's 100% rare chest, another 100% spawn rate chest there, and a bunch of other chests in this spot as well. Whereas if you're here only, you would get, what, 12.35 chests on average. So basically, by them coming over and looting this spot, they've increased their loot by like 50%. So one of the interesting side effects of their, you know, having such a huge amount of metal to work with here is that when they're building surge bases in Storm like this to fight the teams around them, they just do it in full metal. So it's like zero chance of them ever getting chopped out here. It's a pretty interesting call because he hears obviously that there's shooting going on down here. And I mean, realistically, from this surge spot, they're getting nothing. So they decide to have a little key and W over to Casper, who's, you know, trying to third party. This guy's end up running away. They don't end up like successfully getting the sneak up because Casper here hears that they're third partying and pushing, but they do a really good job of fighting this. One of the things that I think a lot of players have started doing way more now is just ADS pumping. So Yapko hits the bang there. It's only a 38. It's not really a bang, is it? As you notice, he starts to crank up, starts to build some space. He crouches. Very important in every fight, crouching. As Prism drops, hits the quick ADS pump there for the 128. With a green pump from that distance, which is absolutely insane. Like, Yapko's aim is nuts. And then he's just playing pump out again onto Casper. And both of them are dead, pretty much. So basically, they know from their surge spot that they're probably going to get no damage because the teams that are around them are third party in. So good call just to like jump in, go for the fight, free damage. And now they're way above. Now they've spotted Donald over there. Oh, where's he off to? Oh, he's going to go and wingsuit onto him. Okay. Interesting, he wingsuited away to try and cut off the angle there where this guy would be rotating to. Missing a lot of bullets. Nice. That guy's probably just going to... I mean, I know they kill him, but they've managed to get him weak. It's just going to be a bunch of running with the wingsuits. It's the hiding under the stairs. Oh, unlucky, bro. Fortunately, your match is over. Kind of a risky play there just to run in on that edit. Hit him for an absolute minimum as well. He gets the siphon there, so they're up. So interesting that their strat, rather than, you know, what we've seen for the two winners the previous weeks was extremely passive play over the first couple zones. But for them, they're actually just keying the teams around them in Storm for their Storm Surge. And obviously, they get a lot of elimination points from that as well. So earlier, I questioned why they were using a Fizz. However, it's actually quite smart because now that they're playing the Storm, I scroll. Ooh. Oh, I was... I thought there was barrels in that one. I forgot about that one. Okay, over here then. There we go. You can see they've left barrels. There's 3 barrels left remaining here, and they can just hit these on rotate, so they don't have to waste any med kits or whatever. Bosh. And then I turn over here, and there's another 2 barrels that left. They may have left other ones as well. There you go. Hit those. And now in the mending machines, they can buy a bunch of med kits, right? So they're buying 3 there. Is it going to be 6 total? Maybe there's... yeah, they don't have to waste any, I guess. And then is Panzer going to buy more? No, he's upgraded to what is that? Spent the rest of the gold. Ooh, on a gold flex SMG. This thing is insane. Most teams, if you've seen my short already, are splitting one player with a flex SMG, one player with just the AR. This is interesting because basically they've only needed to buy a single set of medkits, right? 3 medkits now, and then a patch up there for Panzer at the end, which allowed them to still have enough gold to end up actually buying a gold weapon for that. Most players are just, if they're playing a storm strat like this, they're spending so much of their gold on medkits already. That'd be map knowledge, but why does no one ever take these barrels, right? They've rotated past a bunch of other barrels and they've taken those, and now they've not, like, no one's taken these either at any point in the game. These are always sitting here, I swear. So again, now because they found those, they've not had to waste a single one of their medkits either. All right, and then just like everyone else, unsurprisingly, the same strat that a lot of teams are using, which is wait for the partial whilst you're in storm here. That is them. They pull a good partial, they'll rotate into the dead side. 3 weeks in a row, we've seen teams do the exact same strategy, right? Like we saw Sky and Scroll do this, we saw Teeny and Shark do it last week, and now we're seeing Yapko Panzer do it. So it's just the exact, it's like obviously their form of strat, right? Slightly different from what other teams are doing. Similarly, like every team that's been successful so far has been an edge map team, which I find very interesting because with this surge, everyone's talking about how good center zone is, whereas I've not seen any like Lethal Labs teams performing. I know Peterball and NA has just decided to move away from Lethal Labs. EU teams aren't doing good from this spot as far as I'm aware either. It's interesting that we're seeing 3 teams in a row have all been won by edge map, all playing the Storm. And of course, if you don't know why, which you should have by now if you watch any of my videos, come on guys, everyone will rotate into this side of the zone because they're all coming from here. They come in from Storm, they get in basically, you know, for relatively free. Because they've just been in Storm the whole time, they're also just cap materials, 150, 150. So they basically could not be set up any better for endgame. All right, they pull a pretty good zone. And again, like imagine they were over here, difficult rotate. But because they're in the middle of the 5th zone, wherever zone pulls, they have the freest rotate possible, right? They're setting themselves in a position to have the best rotate that they possibly can. And then unsurprisingly, they get into a relatively high layer. They can refarm. They're still basically cap mats because they've not had to use anything on that very, very close rotate at all. And they're tons above surge because they've not taken any damage and they took a really, really free like third party for their surge earlier on. I do fear that every one of these videos, if you've not noticed, I'm planning on covering the Div Cup every week. Hopefully I'll be able to every single week. TBC if that's actually going to be the case. I do fear that every single week the meta is just kind of the same, but like a different version of that, right? Like obviously the first 2 weeks, a lot of balloon plays on top of that. Don't know if these guys do that in another game at all. It probably doesn't favor them for any of the zone pulls, to be honest with you, to do that. But it's still the same core strategy, is just playing the Storm for the most part. Another very important thing about both Yapko and Panzer is that they are unbelievable Storm Surge players. Like going back to globals for Yapko, I remember he was it's like his AR is unbelievably good when he was playing the Swizzy there. Same thing, and like Panzer had like some of the top damage last year generally. You'll see throughout, I would imagine for the majority of this, I've not seen the rest of this match yet, but like his ability to track with AR is insane. I went back for this in particular. There's just like a quick like 5 bullets shot at the same time. Nothing special, but the one thing is, you know, if these guys have a good Storm Surge strategy, they're gonna hit the shots. Both of their AR aim is truly insane. Similarly, their positioning here, right, not being on edge, they're far away from the edge slightly, benefits them because then they have zone priority. Oh my god, I couldn't remember what it's called. All these people got to rotate first, so you know, slightly deeper into zone is such a massive advantage here, because you see Khan sitting at the backside who has like almost no HP over there. He has to go, and then they can just sit and watch because they see that guy, you know, hit the bubble. Both spray him, free kill. It's interesting also, now, you know, I said earlier that they were carrying, what do you call it, one of the AR, but it's actually, both of them are using mini ammo. You have one with the SMG, and then Yapko is using the TAC AR as well. So both of them are using mini ammo. It kind of goes to show that the damage per second on both of these being so much higher than... oh, milk? The milk! Oh my god, what a milk of a rotate. He's bonked his head. He's not gone out yet. Luckily at that timing, everyone else has just rotated and it pulls uphill anyway, so it doesn't necessarily doesn't matter too much. And Yapko can survive for what? You know, 20 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever the cooldown is, I can't remember. But he is the last person to fly through the skies. That is hella risky. However, that means he can go straight to the dead side. Wow, really nice positioning from him. Is oh, Panzer's also here. So he got split. So they both ended up rotating now deep to the opposite side. Again, what a surprise. The best teams in the lobby are playing far away from congestion. What a surprise. They are here and everyone else is down here. And look, now that the zone's pulled, this is exactly the same thing. If you watched my teeny video from last week, this is literally the exact same thing we talked about. Genuinely, they're just like copy and pasting the strategy of just sitting in the middle of every partial. If zone pulls far, you get the early rotate, you get to go, you know, up to the front side. And because there's no one here, like you can spend time reharvesting. Look how easy the game is for them there. And this first moving zone, things get a little dicey here. They're getting keyed by a team below. So they have to kind of tarp away, try to get, you know, they're getting basically just full sprayed from underneath. However, they do good play. I'm not sure if this is entirely intentional. They run around the backside here, create a little box down in the corner. This is all theirs. And tank Storm. I don't know if the Storm tank's intentional here, but the head bounce is nice. Because most players, if you zoom out into this Storm here in the 9th zone, most players are not using their wingsuit, right? You know, there's a couple players doing it, but everyone who is has to tank a couple of ticks of Storm here, right? And because do they still have the med kits from earlier? They do not, but they have 60 fizz or chug jug. So at least they can tank a little bit, and then they can make that entire rotate pretty much for free. Ooh, I was gonna say, as long as they choose a good landing spot. Almost did not. Oh my god, everyone's landed on the head at the same time. But yeah, basically, a lot of teams are only really using their wingsuits for the first moving zone. Well, and some of the partials earlier before that too. However, if you tank Storm there in the second moving zone, then you can end up actually going completely ahead. All right, now they're at the backside. They didn't manage to make this in one entire rotate. Panzer does get an elim here, so I want to see how he does this. Use the fizz to jump from backside. I bet we're just not going to see it because of server lag, right? Great. Thank you, server lag. Didn't get the elim at that point, but they've gotten up to high front side. Don't know how they rotated that because, you know, we love replay mode. Pre-edit down, bang, Vico dead straight away. Lovely how careful he is there, not to jump straight into the box. I actually think one of the things that I think a lot of the best, I don't want to say people have like forgotten about pre-edits. That's not true, but I swear there's not been like a pre-edit dominant team in so long. I swear because everyone's so focused on playing height, we're missing out on those teams like, you know, old Malabuka Merstash who would just play for pre-edits, right? Ooh, that was a nice rotate. So good, really good awareness here to notice that obviously they're at the backside. They're also probably second height or they're close to. You kind of see as Panzer's peeking here. Yeah, they are second height with Pradaj up there on height. So good awareness that they look like he takes the time to peek out to his left. And then despite the fact they're full HP, they got almost tons of mats too, right? 112. Hits the floor, bounces his head, and then hits the slide and just blocks it perfectly. As they get sprayed there, And then he's got a box down in front side. He took 0 damage during that rotate whatsoever, but went from backside to front side, you know, just with using a single grenade. And of course, that's one of the main reasons that people are still carrying the grenades. You know, it's hard to drop the, what you call it, take like a Flowberry Fizz over it, just because there's so many nice ways you can utilize that to heal with whites at the same time. Bit of a waffle, but you get what I mean. All right, they've got 5 elims to this point, but they do get 8 more in this match, which is kind of crazy given there's only 23 players up. I think it's because they're constantly looking for something, right? You can see Yapko sees the guy in wood at the back. He goes for it. They go over, attempt another pre-edit play here, but don't get anything from it at all. They see another team. It's Bevy's at the front side, and Fastroki goes down. Like, they're constantly looking for elims over and over and over again. Now, they are second height, so they're still getting sprayed back from height here. They got the elim and the finish there onto Fastroki. Second height starts to spray. I love that Yapko's scouting there at the same time. He's looking up to see what's going on. Same with Panzer. They chop out. And then crazy beam from Yapko, just 200 O's them out this guy, and now they have a free height claim. And again, as I mentioned, these guys have absolutely nuts in like AR aim. So putting these guys both on height with the aim that they have, I mean, that's just a recipe for free elims. So Panzer on height, still down to just wood, but finds near the end. Gets to front side with his SMG. Absolutely lasers. Yep, Darm just destroyed, taken out. Drops down, tries to get a better angle here. Don't really know where he's tarping, to be honest. There we go. Trying to get to the front side as much as possible, so he's got angles. Demush dead as well. Gonzo. At this point, everyone's just running out of mats, and with the high fire rate of both the Flex SMG and the Tactical Assault Rifle, I mean, they're just picking up every elim. Already up to 11. It's now 2v2v1. Truly's the only solo, so it's Chino's left. So let's see how they don't milk this last one. Lovely angles taken again. The spray comes through. That's white damage. Jumps at the front. Doesn't do anything too special. Just tries to block off the angles. See if they run through. You can get a pump or not. Trying to prevent them from jumping up. Right. That's the one thing here. Let me watch this out, and then I'm going to go back actually now that I think about it here. Because there was a... Oh, yeah. Pablo's just running around. Oh, we see the Yapko go down. Nice shot to Chino the backside. What is going on here? What is happening? Drops down. Grabs the mist. 42? He's trying to see the body. He's trying to get the mats from the body, but he can't. And both players got... That was literally 1 HP. or sorry, is that 1 HP? That's 50 HP, sorry. I was going to say 1 HP because Siphon. Got that wrong. So it's kind of this point here, right? Panzer gets the doubles. Nice. Gets a bit of white spray through. Jumps up. Goes to the front. So he's got this angle here. At this point was Yapko's playing the tops, whilst Panzer's on the front. And then obviously this smoke grenade comes out, or the med mist grenade. So I really like the fact that they're aware. You can see them fizzing down below as well. This is a telltale sign that this other team is just going to jump up, right? Who gets the elim out of this? I think it's Chino, right? So they're in the grenade. It's just a side. They're obviously just going to do like a massive side jump, sprint up with the pump out. Yep, as Chino does here. Catches himself. Very nice catch. Really nice right-hand peek that he set up here too. Goes to the floor edit. A lot of the best players right now, I swear I'm seeing so many more floor edits than ever before. Then with the fizz again, he pops the Yapko into the back. Let's see what Pablo did during that. So Pablo went to the front. So like they're doubling, right? So if I go wide here, strat is very... I love these kind of like high ground retake what am I trying to say? High ground retake? Whatever it is. Chino went back. Pablo went front, right? The problem is Yapko's looking back, but Panzer's looking front, right? So they've kind of 1v1'd at this point. Then Chino jumps out, misses, runs out of builds. I mean, I guess it's just the fact that he ran out of builds. So now he's hobbling around on low ground. Tries to jump up the back. Another sprint. Gets a nice ADS shot. Hits the minimum. He's flying through the sky. He just ends up dying to storm. I think he got sickness there. Wow, that's actually quite unfortunate, to be honest with you. Now it's the 1v1, where he hits the bang. I just quite like what Chino does here. Is where he's in this position under the floor, and he sets up like the full... Imagine he hits this Martos Classic to win. Man, that would have actually been a crazy play. Doesn't able to, but he's now got height, because Panzer's dropped down. But honestly, it's just an HP advantage at this point, right? He's in the... It's very nice play to jump down into the fizz, because obviously Chino can't see anything at this point. And he's playing it really well, but HP advantages are too big. He's got 39. He sprints off down to the side, hits an 80, but then obviously he's just too weak at that point. All right, quickly, we're going to watch this 10 elim game. I want to watch the elims more importantly and kind of see how it differed from that game where they ended up winning with higher elims. Interestingly, looking at the timeline of this match as well, very similar, right? There's an elim in the mid game. You know, if you told me these two, like Yapko and Panzer, would be way more aggressive than Teeny and Shark, Sky, well, maybe Sky and Scroll, that makes a lot more sense to be honest. Like these are the most aggressive team we've seen so far when it comes to actually, well, one of the out of the 3 Div Cups that we've seen. So let's see what they're doing here. All right, so let's see how this fight actually starts. You got a player boxing on the hill next to them. Panzer's just full keying. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, lovely shot with the fizz jump was so nice. So you see that player obviously jumping up. Perceives teammates down below, not helping whatsoever. Swings on the wall. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Now, Perceive's just running. I guess because Yapko. Let's see what Yapko's doing there. Actually, hold on. Damn, I mean, they really have no fear. Like, at that point, as Panzer was ramping up to him, Yapko's just flying through the sky with a wingsuit. He's trying to stop Perceive from third-partying. His teammate's boxed up down below. Yapko's trying to... Okay. He's trying to get a little mechie with it. Just hits the bang. That's it. Okay. And the one thing about the... Like I said, these two's aim is insane. Whether it's pump aim or AR aim. Just the little tags like that when... I know that's the best analysis you could ever imagine, but... All right, Panzer's not letting them escape. On the wall, just playing pump out. Lovely pinch now from both of them. That should be him dead. Just skipped a bit. I mean, this was a good zone pull for them, but very similarly to the previous game that we talked about. Dead side, 5th zone. Who would have thought? Look who else is here. Shark and Teeny. You know, the two successful teams. Who would have thought? Look at the timing of this too. So they get into an engagement later on. Start to be keyed. I think they hear this guy. Are these guys below Surge? Yeah, these guys are getting ticked by Surge right next to them. So they hear them going off and they start to key them. Very, very nice. You see, Yapko has they don't have the SMGs this game to box fight as easily. So they're spraying from this angle. And Yapko ends up playing pump out whilst his teammate's spraying. He's just trying to like pre-fire the wall breaks. Bang! And he manages to get Polish Cat down. And then he's on the wall. And from this point, Panzer just jumps in. Nope. Yeah, he just walks straight through and managed to get 2 free refreshes. I think they took zero. I was going to say 0 damage. Actually, Yapko took a little, but very, very minimal damage there. All right, got them playing front side low ground for the entire moving. They've not ended up needing their jetpack whatsoever. And this is where a team where, you know, that heavily relies on, or not relies, but heavily utilizes pre-edits will be at their best. Low ground, mid ground layers, like layers where a lot of other teams are around them all of the time, gives them best access just to absolutely poo on anyone who's coming close, right? The big thing is you do have to be able to stay front side for that. So from Panzer's POV, you need to see how they're doing that. He basically just sprints all the way around. He's claiming front already. This wall's right next to him is not theirs, I don't think. Claiming it with the cones. Yep, they're still down to the front side. However, as you notice, Panzer does die actually in this match, which is one of the reasons why they're not as successful. So I want to see how that goes wrong. They're pretty much down to low mats at this point. They've not been able to get a good refresh. 12 builds. Wall's not theirs from in front. I bet I'm going to miss it in the server lag. Okay, no, we're good. Ooh, someone just dropped down behind. What happened there? All right, so Vidil's what? The layer above. He just jumps in storm. It hits the bang. Oh my god. And then just dies to Yapko straight away. That is one of the difficulties when you're playing front side though, right? Here, you're playing front side, and a lot of times you're not covering the side into the storm here, as they're not, right? Because it's just a waste of mats for the most part, but you do leave yourself open to other teams just dropping down a lot and getting the elim. I feel like if you're playing low ground, you for the most part probably should still cover that just with a little bit of wood. It is unfortunate though that they just have absolutely no materials left at this point. But Yapko still frags out a little bit. All right, got the refresh from before. Nice shot into cheating. Yapko is always ADS pumping. Like well, outside of that one, as soon as I say that, of course. And that one. But wherever he gets... And that one. Maybe I'm just lying. Oh, Janice. No, Janice is lost. Yeah, wherever he gets the chance to, he's almost always ADS pumping if someone's like rotating past his box. Seems like if he has time. And like the amount of damage output you have if you can do that is so much better than if you're just sitting. There you go. You can see him trying to go for it again. And if you're just hip firing because of the crosshairs just being so much smaller. So highly would recommend. It's a little bit awkward to get used to. Personally, I suck at doing it. My aim with ADS is so bad. Look how aggressive Yapko is still being, despite the fact that he is a solo, because he knows he needs an elim and a refresh at this point, right? He's got 2 builds left. Oh, goes for the drop. Good movement. Goes back up. Oh, a lovely shot to sky. Managed to get some siphon mats from that tall. No, a little bit too aggressive on the Flixie. Okay. He was feeling himself a little bit too much there, but 8 elims is nuts. Now, what's really interesting is this last match, right? They came 43rd, no points, but they still managed to actually win the tournament. And that is because of Chino and Pablo, who are in 2nd place at the time. So if you notice, Chino and Pablo, who are landing south at Sandy Strip here, are pretty close to Panzer and Yapko's drop spot, right? They almost die out the sky. Holy, what happened there? Or they wouldn't even be able to see it because of replay lag. Yeah, unfortunately, replay sucks. You can't ever load in at this point. All right, replays is a bit cheeks. I don't know where they've been shot from. It seems like they've been shot from east. So it seems like, I think it's Casper that's shooting them. Yeah, Casper is shooting them from landing on the hill here. So they have to kind of land on a little scuff drop. When you're first in a tournament and you're down to 6 HP off spawn, a little shaky going into the final match. But yes, as I mentioned already, Chino and Pablo are dropping to the south of them at Sandy Strip, their usual drop spot. But they push over. Hit the little flowberry grenade. That's the word I was looking for. Get some materials as much as possible. And then I think they just wingsuit straight north of them. Yep, there you go. Wingsuit straight north. So they've got a little bit of loot. They're like, right, we're just going to key this team. If we kill them there in first, we can win the tournament. And because it took them longer to loot and because they split, remember, Yapko's go over this. Panzer is left by himself here, which interesting choice given, you know, obviously I just thought Chino also just saw that there because you can see the trail. Bit of an interesting choice given the fact they're in first and someone can easily third party them there. Yeah, and now they're getting keyed. And Chino and Pablo are 2 very, very good fighting. It was a very good fighting duo. 2 individual fighting players is great. Let's see. Yapko or Panzer hit. They're trying to block off the back because they already know. Oh, the full piece. It's over for him. So at this point, Yapko's still over here. I mean, I wonder if he was just like, hey, it's over for you. I'll be honest. I'm just going to win this tournament without you. So he decides to fly deep into the storm or into the water. As you can see, he just goes. Pablo and Chino, they've had enough. Well, they've not had enough. They've had the opposite of enough. They're chasing. You can see the trail on the far right. So they fly all the way out into the water. Crazy strats. And they end up going all the way around to like the side of the water, all the way down here. And because of this, right, you can see that Pablo ends up jumping up. Yapko eventually runs out of materials, hits him white. That's them dead out. And you're like, yay, we can win the tournament. We're on 280 points. You know, as long as we win this game, we're good. Yeah, that doesn't happen either because Vico's here. And he's like, oh, what the hell's happening next to me? There's guys fighting in the worst possible spot on the map. So him and Malabuk end up pushing in. And then because obviously Pablo's been fighting for so long out in the water with absolutely no loot whatsoever. So they've got nothing left. Vico, Malabuka, fully stacked. They can just key them in the middle of the water. And this play technically is interesting because you think Chino and Pablo are going for first place because they're keying, obviously, the team who is currently in first, which was, you know, Panzer. But ironically, because they ended up dying here, this actually lost them second place. So, you know, they almost managed to get the kill. But because of that, now that they're wiped out, Vico and Malabuka ended up overtaking them. So a little bit interesting end to the tournament nonetheless. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe. Peace.